There's been a full-blown frenzy ripping through Chargers Nation over the past 24 hours. A potential blockbuster trade with a name nobody saw coming, an ESPN ranking that's fueling the AFC West fire, and a contract that looks simple but has a clause that could flip the script. Oh, and a rumor that might completely change Justin Herbert's future. Buckle up, this one's wild. You know that moment when one little whisper makes an entire fan base pause and go, "Wait, is this actually happening?" That's exactly what went down when Brandon Aiyuk's name got linked to the Chargers as a potential draft day trade. Just the mention of it lit up every corner of the Bolts community. And here's the thing. It didn't come from some random burner account. This came from Anthony Palacios, a respected analyst over at Elwas. The guy doesn't drop stuff like this for no reason. According to him, Quentin Johnston's testing the coaching staff's patience, and Ladd McConkey's still a work in progress. Harbaugh can't afford to keep rolling the dice. Mike Williams is back, yeah, but consistency? Still a huge question mark. That's where Aiyuk comes in. Why Aiyuk, though? Because he's not the safe conservative move. He's explosive, sharp in his roots, smart on the field. He brings that edge the Bolts have been missing. But here's the catch. He only played 7 games last season and just signed a massive extension. 4 years, $120 million. Here's the real kicker. On April 1st, his 2026 salary of $16, $2 million becomes fully guaranteed. And in 2027, his cap hit crosses $40 million. So if he underperforms, that deal becomes an anchor. And for a team like the Chargers that's trying to balance talent with cap flexibility, is it worth it? The front office has been clear. They're not into throwing monster deals at one position. Harbaugh wants aggressive, sure, but smart aggressive. The fan base is split. Some are fired up, saying Aiyuk could be that WR1 Herbert desperately needs on third downs. Others are waving red flags, warning he might turn into dead weight if injuries keep piling up. But man, imagine this. Herbert with Aiyuk, McConkey, and Mike Williams on the field, Harbaugh dialing up fireworks. That's a dream scenario, but one that takes guts. Do the Chargers have the guts to pull the trigger during the draft? And while fans were still arguing over Aiyuk, ESPN dropped a bomb of its own. And let's just say Chargers fans were not happy. When ESPN released their free agency performance rankings, Chargers fans had a moment of hope until they saw the list. The Bolts came in at 11th. Want to know who cracked the top 10? Raiders at 8, Broncos at 7. That stings. Ben Solak, one of the sharpest minds at ESPN, put the list together. He actually gave the Chargers props, talked about smart moves like bringing back Khalil Mack and versatile DB Elijah Molden, signing Najee Harris, and especially snagging lineman Mekhi Becton. Biggest praise went to how Harbaugh and staff rebuilt the interior O-line. Solak said it was a silent weakness, finally getting addressed. But then came the gut punch. Solak ripped into the receiver group. Losing Joshua Palmer and relying only on Mike Williams, he called it a step backward, said if McConkey misses even one game, the passing attack is lost. That didn't sit well with anyone. Raiders and Broncos ahead of us? That's a hard pill to swallow. Chiefs were way down at 21, but hey, they've got Mahomes and a battle-tested roster. But Vegas? Denver? Nah, man. What makes it worse is the Chargers still have plenty of cap space. Harbaugh and new GM Joe Ortiz have played it conservative, making surgical moves, betting on high-upside guys with flexible contracts. It's a sound strategy, especially coming off a 5-12 season turned 11-6. But fans want more. They want fireworks. And the draft is right around the corner. Truth is that ESPN ranking exposed something nobody wants to admit. The window is open, but the Chargers still trail the AFC West pack. Now there's even more pressure to hit big in the draft, or maybe take a wild swing via trade. And while Harbaugh is staying calm and focused, a rumor popped up that could flip the table entirely. A name nobody expected. A name that fits the Chargers like a glove. If this one happens, Herbert's career might never be the same. Picture this, a wide receiver with elite speed, crisp routes, a highlight reel full of big plays, and he's a lifelong Chargers fan. Now imagine him in the powder blue catching dimes from Justin Herbert. Feels like fantasy, right? But Chris Olave's name is starting to swirl. It started when whispers came out that the Saints might be open to moving Olave. The guy's a first-round pick, just 24, polished as hell. But there's a concern. 5 concussions since college, and he missed half the games last year. He's now eligible for an extension, and the Saints might be hesitant to commit long-term. Here's the fun part. Olave grew up rooting for the Bolts. The fandom is real. The emotional connection is legit. Fans are already dreaming of him suiting up at SoFi. But of course, here comes the reality check. Jason Reed from Bolt Beat dropped the cold water. Even if the Saints are rebuilding and worried about injuries, odds are slim they move Olave. They just hired Kellen Moore as OC, and Olave's likely their offensive centerpiece. And if they do entertain offers, the price would be steep. Think multiple picks, maybe even a first. Now here's where it gets frustrating. The Chargers weren't willing to give up a second-rounder for DK Metcalf. He ended up in Pittsburgh on a $150 million deal. So, would they really go all in for Olave? Fans are split, again. Some see Olave as the perfect fit. Young, dynamic, loyal to the brand. Others worry he's one hit away from being sidelined long-term. The big question, what's the price tag on changing Herbert's career trajectory? The man needs weapons and needs a reliable deep threat who opens up space for McConkey, Williams, in the run game. Olave fits the bill. But the risk is high, really high. And while the front office weighs all that, another piece of the puzzle quietly made headlines. A detail in a recent contract might be the sneakiest smart move of the offseason. When the Chargers signed Mekhi Becton, the reaction was mostly positive. Super Bowl champ, bounce-back year with the Eagles adds major beef to the O-line. But here's what no one knew until now. On the surface, it's a clean 2-year, $20 million deal. But over the cap, dug into the fine print. In 2025, his cap hit is $3 million. In 2026, it jumps to $5 million. But none of it is guaranteed. That means the Chargers can cut or trade him after 1 year and save a cool $10 million. Basically, it's a 1-year audition disguised as a 2-year commitment. And it's signature Joe Ortiz. This is his style. Flexible deals, minimal risk, long-term options. And applying that logic to the O-line, that's playing chess while others are playing checkers. And let's be real, Becton is worth the gamble. He was labeled a bust early on, battled injuries, switched to guard in Philly, and thrived. He was a key cog in a championship line. Now he's in L.A., hungry to prove he's for real. Even better, he'll line up next to Joe Alt, one of the most promising young tackles in the league. That duo could anchor a run-heavy attack, exactly what Harbaugh wants. Protect Herbert, open lanes for Najee, smash defenses in the fourth quarter. If it works, Becton gets a nice extension in 26. If not, no harm, no foul. Smart, clean, calculated. And it tells us something bigger. The Chargers may not be making splashy headlines, but they're executing a master plan, building a strong, disciplined foundation. Quiet now, but ready to explode. So what does all of this mean? 4 moves, 4 signs that something big is brewing in Los Angeles. The Aiyuk trade talks, the firestorm around ESPN's rankings, the Olave rumors, and the hidden genius behind Becton's deal. This team isn't sleeping. They're scheming. Harbaugh doesn't just want a playoff run, he wants dominance. But now it's your turn. What do you think, Bolt fam? Which move hits hardest? Drop your take in the comments, smash that like and hit subscribe, because here we bleed blue and break it all down without the fluff. And tomorrow? Oh yeah, we've got another bomb coming.